I'm here today with Larry Cherry, who's one of our partners, and has kind of given his time today to tell us his experience so far in our program. Larry, welcome. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Welcome. Good morning.
So, Larry, I just wanted to sort of take you back a bit before your time in the program and just sort of give the people watching today just a bit of a sense of what life was like when you sort of started out as a broker and how things are kind of going for you day to day. So,
Okay.
How long have you been kind of, broking, as it were?
I want to say at least 7 months.
And what attracted you to the industry?
The freedom. From basically what I was being able to see was the freedom, the time that different brokers were able to spend with the family, the financial piece of it, of course, and the ability to work from home.
Okay. And so when you sort of started out, talk me through, your first steps. What did you first do? What were the first mistakes that you made?
It was a trial and error. Like I didn't have really a mentor per se. I was just going off of stuff I was finding on YouTube or different courses I was paying for, taking their steps. So reaching out to the lenders and contract with them, finding out which lenders work best and who has a better rapport with who. And I think once it got down to the marketing piece, because I was doing fine until it got down to the marketing piece, I had no idea what I was doing. Facebook ads couldn't get approved. I didn't know how to create an ad, or when I did create one, how much did I really need to spend in order to bring in not just leads, but quality leads that were pertaining to the type of clientele that I was trying to reach out to.
So just if we just focus on the marketing piece, first of all, was Facebook the only thing that you tried, or were you trying other things at the same time?
Facebook at first because, they had other ways of having free leads. It was a whole list of things, but Facebook was supposed to be the creme de la creme, all right?
Yeah.
Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, if you have the sales navigator and so forth and so on, you're able to kind of connect and build your network and with the system that they created. And when I say they, I mean multiple courses that I've taken upon to kind of use the same platform. Nonetheless, Facebook was the one that appeared to be more expensive, but it was also effective.
So it worked for you to get leads in initially?
Correct.
Okay. And then what happened from there? So if you've now got the leads, what did you do next?
It was a hassle because I would speak to them, everything going great, and they sound like they're ready to go. But trying to decipher who's a good lead and who's not, who can you help and who can you not help, and who's serious and who's not serious. Everyone, when they do pick up the phone, you're able to have a brief conversation, put them at ease. But again, for them, this is a odd way of obtaining funding. So asking someone that you've never met, a company that you've never heard of, to send over 3 months bank statements, it tends to be intimidating, and for anyone, they feel like it's a scam. So it was once it comes to collecting documentation, that's where I reached another loophole.
Did you manage to overcome any of those challenges in that period of time before we met?
Very few.
Okay, that's interesting.
When I did overcome them, I wasn't able to help them because of their current situation, whether it be they didn't generate enough revenue or their credit score was just completely shot. So no bank or lender that I was contracted with was willing to take that risk to fund them any type of money.
So would you say that at that time, because you were really just only utilizing YouTube, if you like, as the sort of the support source, the training source, that you were encountering all of these different challenges one after the other and didn't really have the, what's the word I'm looking for, perhaps the knowledge to overcome and understand how to more effectively engage a lead, to understand whether it's viable for one, whether you should be working it, and how to actually give them that trust and credibility that they can part with that confidential information? Because obviously, now it's still a problem for everybody that's in the broking world, but giving them or creating that trust and credibility quickly is a key aspect in ensuring you've got efficiency of lead flow and ultimately leads getting funded.
Correct. And in addition to that, just to piggyback off of that, it was in addition to the knowledge piece that I was lacking, I was also lacking the structure because I was a one-man show. So
yeah.
Not saying a one-man show can't do it. However, when you've never done it before and you don't know where to start it, and you're trying to create this, create that, and it's a test and trial for you as well as it is for them. So you don't want to come off as someone who just started in the business. You want to look at an expert, because if it's me and I'm trying to obtain funding or give anyone my personal information, I'm not trying to give it to a person that just want to start their business today.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you're now part of our affiliate program. We have a lot of the infrastructure and systems and processes in place. But I want to ask a question that can kind of help people that are just starting out on this journey themselves. That if you were to start this again and now knowing what you now know today, what would you do differently?
Everything. If I could have gotten in contact with you guys ahead of time, I would have joined you guys.
Yeah.
Versus paying $800, $1,000, $500, a substantial amount of money. And I'm not even talking about marketing, I'm talking about the courses. So
yeah.
The courses where essentially I still am reaching roadblocks. And you're going to reach roadblocks regardless. Just what I didn't understand or what I prefer, if I'm going to invest in your course, be upfront me and let me know how much I'm going to need to invest in the business as well, so that I can decide, one, can I afford this? Two, is this something that I still want to do? And three, I can realistically put this into perspective of what my average cost would be, in order to run the business, versus thinking once I put this $2,000 in, great, this is it. I'm off and running, and I should receive some type of deal within the next 30 days.
That's a good point, actually. So I'm interested to know, I've never asked you this question, that if you look at all those kind of, let's say, hurdles, and I know it can be quite an expensive learning curve to be paying up for a course to get into it and then realize, actually, I need another $3,000 or so just to get the business moving as well. Now I'm kind of getting this knowledge into play. How do you think that, had you have found us from day one, that experience would have been different working with in Hub's affiliate program as opposed to the things that you were doing on your own?
Well, in the Hub's affiliate program, I'm not, as my dad would call it, I'm not the programs and the product. I'm not the operations and the programs, So once I speak to, I just put a gist of it. When I was on my own, okay, I got the lead coming in. It finally comes in. I call them if they answer. I call them. We speak. All right. We break the ice. I send out another email. Right. The email goes out. After the email goes out, they either receive it or they don't receive it. I don't know. How that goes. But let's say they receive it. They confirm they receive it. They send back the application. Great. I may get the application and I may get the driver's license. Nobody has their bank statements on hand, right? And we're also dealing with a different type of generation. Like, I know that I can go on my mobile app, download the bank statement from the mobile app, save it, and boom, there we go. No, you're not. You're gonna get screenshots. you're gonna get, I don't have internet. You're gonna get, I don't have bank statements. I deal cash transactions only, right? That just a whole nother piece that I would have, my only job would have been to make contact with the affiliate program. And as I'm making contact and getting used to the conversation and everything and getting used to programs, it would have been less stress on me to do everything else, because the affiliate program has departments and people in place to get those things done. And that way I can put more time in making contacts with other leads versus taking 20, 30, 40 minutes for this one lead that's essentially not about to go anywhere because they don't have a checking account.
Yeah, I get what it's funny, isn't it? All these things that you learn now seem so obvious, but at the time you don't know what you don't know. So until you've made the mistake and experienced the pain of the mistake, that's when the lesson comes in and you kind of improve. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that the thing with our program is we're brokers, as you know, as well. So we put a lot of effort and thought into how we can just simplify the process for people coming in and just maximize the opportunity for them to make money. And on that note, I mean, I think with you, it's like you were 4 weeks in, I think, when we got the first deal funded.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk me through. I'm interested to know your kind of emotional experience around that, because as you probably know, like me, that it's an emotional journey when it's not going your way, right? When you're telling everyone around you that this is the thing that's going to make me, a lot of cash, and then you're plugging away every month and there's nothing happening. And then you've got the naysayers saying to you, look, why don't you go get a proper job? And you're still plugging away. Like, what was it like when it finally happened for you?
It was every bit of emotion you could probably think of. It was exciting when we got the deal. Leading up to that, it was frustrating, of course, because we had several other ones where it looked like, okay, we're about to fund them, it's about to happen. And then something else occurs. Okay, then we're about to fund them, we're about to happen. Oh, something else occurs. So I was trying not to get too excited because, as you know, with this particular deal, it was a tug of war back and forth. Like, it was like, Jesus, is this what it's going to be like for every deal? So when I finally got the deposit, more so, or the deal was closing, I know I was getting funded, I was thrilled. At the same time, I wasn't trying to be, I had to be realistic. Like, I had to remember, okay, you got to put money back to reinvest into marketing again, right? So let's look at how much you're really going to net on this, how many of these deals you need to receive each month. And not only to just be profitable, but to get that freedom that I was talking about, right? So yeah. I think on that particular deal, it was maybe 51, a little bit over $5,000. I want to say 5,700 in commission. Again, great. 57. You get one of those every month. You're over 70,000, close to 80,000 at that point. But that's not my main goal. Closing 2, 3, 4 of those, right? Because again, money got to come out to put reinvest into the business, reinvest into marketing, reinvest into getting more word out there, getting more quality leads like that one. So it was a mixture of emotions. I was thrilled. I was able to take care of certain bills, able to put myself back in a positive perspective, and motivating, of course, to go out and get another one. At the same time, I didn't want to let that money go. I was trying to hold on to it. I was trying to make sure I ain't spending a penny. But I had to be realistic and have faith in myself and have faith in you guys in regards to we're going to get another one. And I just need to continue to keep it moving. By the time 2020 comes, 4 or 5 will be closing every month. And at that point now, I'm 20, 25 grand monthly and got that freedom that I was talking about.
Yeah, you've raised a couple of interesting points there I'd like to touch on. But before I go into that, I've got one quick question. Do you think you could have got that deal over the line had you been doing this on your own without being in the program?
No.
Why do you say that?
I probably I wouldn't have had patience. Like I said, that deal was a tug of war. And it's just, some people you're going to run into that, I don't know, it appears as if they're not interested. Not the type of person I am. I'm not really I'm a go-getter, but I'm not going to beg you to provide service for you, right? You filled out the form, meaning if you could have gotten through the bank and you could have gotten funded earlier, you would have. No one takes the time to fill out a Facebook form if they could get approved through a bank. No one does that. So right now, that means, okay, you need the money, from my perspective. When I call and you answer the phone, that's another sign that you need the money. If you're capable of sending me all documentation, no one does that unless you need the money. Because again, there's still that trust factor there, right? And that fear that this is a real thing. And so when I'm asking for little things like your driver's license and you go missing for like 3-4 weeks, it's like, yo, do you not have a driver's license? Like, how is this? What's going on? That's when it becomes like, all right, I just need something simple. Or if I actually driver's license, you're like, well, why are you going to give me? You just gave me your bank statements. I think if I wanted to do some type of fraudulent activity, I would have been able to do it with just your bank statements. Okay, so on that particular deal, I know I would have been like, all right, I'm over this, and I would have went to the next one because at some point in time, I didn't feel like he actually wanted it, but he was just slow to react. Honestly, it's just slow to get things moving, and I think also you're gonna run into a situation where people are shopping, right? So you're not going to be the only broker that they're typically dealing with. That's in some cases you may be the last broker that they're dealing with because they dealt with other ones. They weren't able to get approved, and they're still not able to get approved with the bank. So now here they are with you. So I mean, we're running into that now with a lot of the clients that we're dealing with that they're showing a sense of urgency now because the previous broker that they were dealing with failed.
Exactly. There's so many valuable points you've just made in that one deal, but I think just to explain to the people watching that deal for Larry, I think it was probably one of even the hardest one that I've kind of been a part of, and I was on the periphery of that. So I think you just experienced all of the kind of things that you could potentially get in a deal that are hard work just seem to happen with that one. But I think the other thing to make a point of there is that there are a lot of people that get into this industry, and we haven't spoken about this, Larry. You might have been one of them that. If they look at the marketing and the way this sort of industry is advertised with the courses that are out there and the different affiliate programs, you can very easily kind of think that it's pretty simple, right? Get a lead in, they want funding, submit it to a lender, and hey, presto, we're making money. And the reality is so far from that truth there. The reality is, very rarely do you get a deal that is a slam dunk. Most of the time, you're going to get resistance of some form or other, whether it's that they're slow to respond with the information that you need, or whether the information they provide you is not quite correct, so you have to put in extra time to make it correct. There's all these different variables that come into it. So whereas it's feasible to say, yeah, you can get a lead in and get them funded in 48 hours, the reality is generally very different to that. And you experienced a lot of that with that particular lead. And I think the other thing to say is that, it's very achievable where you can make six figures, even up into the mid six figures plus as a loan broker in this industry, and certainly within the affiliate program. But the key to having that happen is volume. You have to have a lot of leads coming through to counteract the situation that you experienced, where we had two that were looking very good to get funded, and different reasons happened as to why they didn't actually go through. And the reason you need volume is that there's so many unpredictable elements that we as brokers just can't control. We can have systems, we can have process, we can have all these great things in place, but ultimately we're dealing with people, and people are unpredictable. So the only thing that really counteracts that is stacking the odds in your favor. And the only way to do that is have a ton of leads coming through each month, which means that you'll always hit a consistent run rate. And whatever that kind of metric is, you then know what you need to do to scale that volume, right? So if 100 leads, generally with us, 100 leads will give you around 5 to 10 conversions. And if that's the case, then you need 200 leads to kind of double it. It's very simple math, and it's not as straightforward as that, but you get the point. So yeah, that's very valuable points you just made there. So I'm kind of interested in your thoughts now that you're in the program. You've got the first deal. I think we're coming close to another one being funded pretty soon. What you sort of feel the future like? How do you sort of see this as an opportunity for you to grow as a broker going forward?
Well, of course, it's a learning process still. It's not going to I don't think it's ever going to get to a part where I'm not learning in it. But as a broker and moving forward and how comfortable I feel about the future of it, I think it's going to be extremely successful. Just making the process easier and more simple for not only the broker but the customer. The conversation piece, knowing what type of leads that are out right now. Like we've seen certain leads can be seasonal, right? Yeah. You may want to go at the small auto dealerships once tax returns comes out, right? Because now people buying cars and so forth and so on. They're going to need to that probably means something that we need to get on now because they want to up their fleet soon, right? We've seen a time where farmers are a big one, right? Where they need to get the tractors. Um, right now, we're going to go after, our particular leads for construction and real estate because they're buying houses, and those are some of the leads that we're about to close right now. As far as they need money right away. They send everything back like that. They don't need time to shop. They need you to get the fundings to them, and just so forth and so on. Being able to kind of decipher when is a good time to go after these leads, what type of leads are they, making the process easier for them and comfortable for them, so that they feel like you are the company that you present to be, right? And overall, making the funding process simpler and for the broker as well to get paid. I think it's just the whole process itself and the effort. I think we're breaking down, and from even on the back end, from the software and the operation standpoint, to make it easier and more simple and valuable as a to be an affiliate of the program. So I like it. I like where it's going. I think this is going to be extremely successful. And otherwise, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be here.
I know exactly that. Do you see this program as an effective runway, if you like, to take you to the sort of 6-figure plus figures per year?
Correct. Yeah. Again, if the next one we're looking at is 150, that's still another $4 or $5 grand for us, right?
Yep.
We still got 3 more by that. That's substantially more, right?
Yep.
So again, let's just say on the average, if you're doing 2 leads a month, or you're closing 2, let's just again low end, you're closing 2 a month where the amount is 100,000 or more, you're at 6 figures.
Yeah, exactly. It's not too hard, is it? I mean, that's what I keep explaining to people, that sometimes it seems like it's this big mountain to climb, but it's just numbers. And like, as you say, if you get the right sort of deal flow coming through, it's just 1 or 2 deals a month, and you're making 6 figures a year.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. 6 figures a year is what, 8,000, a little bit over 8,500 a month. That's very doable. Like I said, the first one was 5,700. Let's say we had 2 of those. We're talking about 11,000 monthly. That's exactly. 132,000 a year.
So. Yeah, exactly that. So I know you've got to go soon, so I'm just going to kind of bring this to an end now. So what's the number one piece of advice you would give to anyone just starting out in this industry? That, again, looking back and things that you did, and I'm not saying join Hub's affiliate program, whilst I'd like to think we've got everything going on and it's a great platform to be in, but outside of that, what's the one thing you would say to people, given your own mistakes and learning, that you would advise them to do?
You got to be patient. You got to be open-minded. Like anything, it's not a get-rich type of thing. You got to put in the work.
Yeah.
I probably talked to over hundreds of people to get a deal closed.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But if I had to give any advice per se, the work you put in is the work you'll get out.
Absolutely.
And that also goes with money. You're gonna have to be able to give something to get something. Nothing is free. So your time, your funds, your energy, all of that is going to have to be put into it. And whatever you put into that, you'll get in return. So it's a risk. It's like anything else in regards to being successful. It's a risk. But if you're willing to take that gamble and make that risk, and then be patient, and it's almost like planting a garden. When no farmer puts in a seed, waters it, and expects a tree tomorrow, right? He knows this is going to take time. It's going to take growth. He's going to have to even put up a little stem to make sure it grows up the right way. So I think that's the most thing is, the patience and the work behind the patience.
That's a great analogy, actually. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Well, look, great interview. Thank you for your time, Larry. It's great having you on board. We enjoy working with you, and you know, here's that next deal getting funded imminently. It's in the, well, hopefully even be this week. We'll get some offers. So here's
Right.
hoping. Good man. Well, have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Cheers.